So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Diane Benn, founder and director of High Flying Comms, to the Yorkshire Sales Sprint. So Diane, I'm going to come off shared screen and I'll let you have that. Off you go on your shared screen, Diane, over to you.
Thanks. I'd just like to thank Nick and Russell as well for inviting me to just come and talk to you today. Thanks for the great introduction, guys. We're going to talk today about marketing comms strategy and how that can help you increase sales. So to increase sales, you need to be absolutely visible. We're seeing too many people at the moment talking to people who have actually, because of COVID, have just completely gone off the radar. So what we need to do is be visible to all our stakeholders and audience as well. Now, when we talk to clients, we go through this 6-step comms success program. So this is all the comms success and the marketing communications planning that you need to do before you even do any content. So we start with the who. So who is your target market? The fantastic Marianne who was on today talked about the customer journey and what that means. So what we need to do is know who your target market actually is, first of all. Quite in depth as well. So when we've done that, we do the what. What are you actually selling? Now, you'll be surprised to hear probably that a lot of people don't know what they're selling and what their service is. It's your USPs, it's what you're selling, the product, the service, in a very, very clear way. So then we do the how. How do you tell your story? And we were just looking at the Golden Globe Awards this morning, and all that is about storytelling, the videos, the movies, what you're saying about your business. And it's amazing how many people actually don't know what's behind their story. So that's where we come in a lot of the time to help people uncover those key messages. And then when we do the how, we do the where. So where are your communication channels coming from? So those could be social media, it could be the PR, it could be your website, your case studies, all that is where are your communications channels? Is it the media? Is it your internal stakeholders as well? So when we do the where, we do the when. Now, this is really important as well. So when are your messages scheduled to hit? And a lot of people just send things out ad hoc, get social media in from somewhere, we'll do a case study, or maybe we'll do it next month. That never works because people don't have an understanding and a knowledge constantly of who you are. So they're looking at your case study going, I have no idea who these people are. So it's the when. And then we go and do a communications plan. And this is where we help clients massively with pressing go, basically, on your return on investment and feedback. And you've got to be flexible about it as well. So those are the 6 steps to communication success that are going to set you on a real track to make sure your marketing comms are working for you. Now, storytelling, as we know, a lot of you, is the best marketing. And when we're talking about sales as well, marketing is a prop and a help to sales. We used to work for Marshalls PLC, the hard landscaping people, and we used to do all the marketing comms for them to send out. So your sales team can go out and have the brochure, they can have the video. I think Josh is talking later about video, which is absolutely essential these days as well. But to tell your story, you need to be authentic like never before. We all know at the moment with COVID-19 that people are absolutely sick of everything. Their attention span is very short. They're wanting to talk to people and companies that are authentic. We need clarity of message as well. What are you actually saying? And get rid of all the other stuff that you don't want. And then relevance as well. Talking last week about Valentine's Day and Mother's Day coming up, that's all right if you're selling chocolates. It's not all right if you're selling widgets, if you're selling concrete bollards, if you're selling something else. Forget all that. It's the clarity of what your audience want, need. So what should a content strategy actually contain? Now, there's loads of elements to a comms strategy, depending on your business, but I'll just go through some of them that are really important. Yes, you need your key messages. That is absolutely the number one thing. You need to know what you're saying. PR activity, a lot of people are not doing PR activity at the moment. Media relations is massive at the moment. Journalists are still wanting your stories. Business press want your stories. We need to uncover those key messages. social media, obviously, case studies and blogs are massive as well, but also putting any events and exhibitions, trade fairs that you're going to, even if they're virtual, awards recognition. And something that we talk about a lot is crisis management planning. What happens if something goes wrong in your business? What happens if somebody on social media says something that is actually a game changer and it can ruin reputation? The largest companies in the world have a crisis management plan, because then we know who's to speak to, we can do the scenario planning, and then we can head it off at the pass. We need a timeline and a review and an analysis as well. So I've got 3 E's of successful content. This actually came through somebody else, actually. It was massive in America. They're a billionaire. We need to entertain people on social media. We need to educate people on social media and every aspect of the communications plan. And then we need to execute it, i.e. do what you say you're going to do, because that is the number one thing. If people don't follow through with what they're saying, it can cause a massive problem. But be entertaining, do something a bit different, and give value with education. So what to use for maximum attention? A lot of people don't do this. And it's, if you look at anybody who's massive on social media or in the press or wherever, they've got props. Now, what do I mean by props? That's brochures. It's what you do produce, show it. If you're making bottles like this, show it, use your props. And it can be difficult for some businesses to actually do that. If you're an accountant or a financial services business, you may struggle to do that, but you've got a brochure, you've got something that your output is. Music is absolutely fantastic to just give that ambience. A lot of people use that to great effect across social media. And then you've got your environment as well. Some people, like, it's very difficult at the moment, but some people go to a nice office, some people go to a cafe, some people go to a stately home to actually shoot their videos, their social media posts, and give that impression of environment. It's actually very, very important that these days, because as we know, social media is, you get 2 seconds and that's that. Now, one tool that I really want to share with you today is answerthepublic.com. Now, this is basically, I don't know if you've seen it, it's free. And what you do is put, let's say, like public relations into the Answer the Public search engine, and it'll come up with everything that Google Analytics, so it's real time, is what people are talking about and asking about your company. So in this example, we've got shorts. So we've got shorts for dogs, shorts for pole dancing, shorts for big thighs, goodness me, shorts for a bigger bulge, you never know. But this is our real-time questions that people, i.e. your audience, your customers, are asking, and you can build your content campaign around these. So I would urge you to go to that. It's all free and it's a fantastic tool. I know a lot of PR and social media people use this tool because it's so good. So just a bit about repurposing your content as well. I'm just going to get a blog in here, elements of a successful blog. It's just one of the ways we can communicate. But what we do need to do is use the same formula for all your blogs. Get your tone of voice right, get your branding right, make sure that people are seeing your logo, your brand all the time. A lot of the time we use for blogs a set formula. So you can use a back, which is go through your background, go through your approach, go through your outcomes, or fab if you've got a product. Features, what are the features, what are the attributes of that, and what are the benefits to you? Quotes from individuals, showcasing your actual results that you've had, before and after pictures, use high quality images, embed video like Josh is going to talk about, and then repurpose your content for any media releases you write. It can do websites, it can do commentary, opinion, social media, and that is from just one piece. I think blogs and case studies are maybe the number one way that we get information out to people. So I'm just going to share with you a bit of a success story recently we've had in lockdown. So does all this actually work in real time, which I'm always about the practical. We've got a skateboard ramp building company based in Bingley in West Yorkshire, and they have seen sales absolutely go mad at the moment over lockdown, because obviously people are building ramps in the back gardens because the kids can't go out. It's a bit of exercise, it's healthy living. So this is the really good thing about the PR and the brand identity for people in terms of marketing comms. So we've we put this together. We did, it's a Bradford-based business. We wrapped it around the COVID story. This was early last year. So we got it in local and regional press, brand authenticity, credibility, it drove sales, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and they've positioned as experts in what they do. And don't ever think that your company can't get into major nationals, which is huge at the moment, because we got this in the Independent's Christmas guide this year. And that's our expertise at actually getting people into the media. And we'll see the return on investment in a minute. But the social media posts, what we did is reached a wider audience with that. Images are great, the content's great. We used influencers in the skateboard world. The lady on the top left-hand corner of your screen is actually an Olympic snowboarder. She's over training fantastically at the moment. The guy in the middle, he's called Charlie, and he was a social media influencer, and he was been on the X Factor. So it's getting these people in to actually showcase your products or services, which, I mean, it produces a fear of, amongst their audience as well, a young audience, a fear of missing out and a desire to have that product because they've got it. Huge. Just a bit about the return on investment. Because they saw the in the press and the media, there were £1,000 worth for a leading furniture distributor deal. We got 25 million hits per day on the independent newspaper with their perfect gift guide. And we also got it on all the business referrals inside media, Business Daily, Business Desk, Telegraph and Argus, you name it, Yorkshire Post. But this is the big thing about the sales. Their sales have increased 60% because they're visible. They weren't known before. It was like a hobby business, and it's just gone massive. So this is the power of what they're doing. So my top tips: you need a marketing comms plan. This is where a lot of people go wrong. Don't wing it. Don't get a social media person in there, a video person in there, and all this stuff until you've got a marketing comms plan and you know what you're saying. All this stuff is great, but you need to know what you're saying and how you're going to say it and when. And that actually helps you calm down, and it helps you have a focus about where you're going. And that's the biggest thing I think we see people making a bit of a mistake with. And then they're wasting money, of course, as well. Now, content is now your biggest asset. Content companies at the moment are seeing massive, massive surges of business. And some of the biggest ones that do it really well, it is that they're making millions and millions of pounds out of content. People are now understanding that content is what you need, and you need somebody who either shows you how to do it or guides you how to do it, or you can, and then you can do it yourself, or you just pass it through to them. But I think content, the people who are winning big at the moment have this content, and they know it's one of their biggest assets within their business, like IP. Be consistent. Don't stop. You only have to do it a few times a week. Give it time. We need time to see. I mean, I know a lot of SEO experts all say people don't give it enough time, and that is absolutely true with your content as well. You know, it takes time to build a business. It takes time to build a brand. They say about 2 years to build a brand from scratch. So give it some time, but be consistent with it. And content seen is always building your brand awareness. I think we've got Nigel Cliff on here today, haven't we, as well, who's a fantastic LinkedIn expert. And he will tell you that, you know, just get your brand out there, get seen, get some great content on LinkedIn, and you will see the benefits of that. I certainly have in the 11 years we've been going. It's one of the main things is networking, making sure that you're visible everywhere. You know, every day, every hour, everywhere. That's what the biggest companies do, and that's how they do it successfully. So what's your story? And that's the end of the presentation. I'm Diane Benn. I'm a founder of High Flying Comms. If you want to get in touch with me or ask me any questions at all about your content, anything at all, my contact details are there, or you can go through LinkedIn with Nick. Okay.
Can you unshare the screen for me, Diane? That was, I did say to you, didn't I? You only got 20. That was quick, fascinating, and interesting. I'm going to expand on that a little bit if I can, in terms of just closing that off. Thank you very much. In terms of asking you a little bit about the calendar side of things, you know, looking for highs and lows, looking for opportunities. Spoke to someone recently, and she said you can always make a case for linking your product or service to some kind of national, there's a national week for something, or a national so-and-so day, isn't there?
Yeah.
If you're putting a comms plan together, how far in advance should you be planning your comms for your business?
I would say at least 3 months, but if not a year. I mean, in terms of PR and getting things into the media, for instance, and putting that on your comms plan, I would say, you know, you really need 6 months, because a lot of these magazines work so far ahead. It depends what you know what your industry is. Say if you're in fashion, for instance, you know, the magazines are going to be coming out now. They're going to be doing now all the content for what you're going to put in September. And a lot of people do come to me a bit too late down the line, expecting massive things to happen in such a short space of time, and they don't take into account the lead times that the media have. So when you're talking about social media posts, yeah, you can have quick hits with that. You can get it online straight away, but you need to be looking at your comms plan and what's going into that and your calendar and scheduling it all out. A good 3 months, I would say, before you need to do it.
And taking up on that, you mentioned that probably for business to business, for those who are new to this, a blog's an easy win, isn't it? A blog, something you're writing about, that you know about, that you're passionate about, which might be top tips on, you know, reducing your tax bill, or top tips on improving your efficiencies of whatever it might be. Everyone can write some kind of level of expertise and critique and tips. How often should a business to business organization be creating blogs, would you say, Diane? Because then they, I guess, feed, don't they? They feed the rest of the opportunities, you know, from that one piece of content.
Absolutely, it's a great way to actually sell yourself, and it can, you know, as you say, I would do probably maybe 4 blogs if in an ideal world, 4 blogs a month on what you're doing, because that is content already done. And that's your content for all of your social media, your PR releases, whatever it is. You can form the basis as well of your videos, Josh. So, you know, it's absolutely. So, you know, it can absolutely do massive amounts of good in terms of doing one piece of work for a lot of things. And they're always there as well.
If that sounds like a lot to people who, let's say you've not done much before, let's say content is something that you're aware of, 4 a month sounds like it's a scary starting point. My thought process would be, do one, but have a plan for what you're going to do with it, and have another one up your sleeve ready for the second rollout. But what I don't want to say to people who say, well, I'm busy running my business, is, you know, well, you know, you've suddenly become a content creator. Content, I work in sales organizations across the UK. Content has to be part of the plan. It doesn't have to be the plan, but it certainly has to be part of the plan. I think I like the bit you said, Diane, about, you know, the businesses that are successful, the businesses that are visible, and you only get visible by putting the effort in and putting the content out there. And if you're not good at copywriting, and you can't craft a story, and you can't craft, then there's 1,000,001 people who can help you to do that, you know, from freelancers to professionals to people in your network. Collaboration's an opportunity, but it is all about being visible. It is all about creating. The bit that concerned me though is concrete bollards not a good Valentine's gift then? Is that sort of...
I use that analogy because there's a good story here as well. I used to work for Marshall's PLC, the hard landscaping people, and we were sat around in a high level marketing meeting. There were about 20 of us in the team, and the group marketing director really wanted us to come up with a new story for how to sell a concrete bollard. So I'm not joking. We just sat there and looked at each other and went, oh my God, I'm not, you know, this ain't going to happen, is it? What can we name it or whatever? But actually these concrete bollards were crash protection for, and we got it on the BBC One show. That's why I like that story, because it's something so simple, isn't it? And it's concrete, for God's sake, you know, but, you know, at the end of the day, we got that on the One show because we did some crash testing, got the crash test dummies in, you know, and now it's all over the world. Those bollards are all over the world and they look amazing.
And that piece of content that One show can be repurposed 100 times, can't it? In such...
Oh, yeah. It's still going now. If you look on Marshall's website, still got the video there, and that's 11 years later. So, you know.
Well, Russell, you're going to manage any questions that we had in the chat. Have we got anything come through from anyone?
There's nothing come through, but this is one from me. Automation of posts, Diane. Obviously, if you purposed a lot of content, would you have any recommendations for that? Because on your presentation, it mentioned about hourly and being seen regularly. And I know a lot of the times, a lot of business owners don't want to jump on LinkedIn every 15 minutes, every hour to post something. Is there anything you'd recommend around that with the content that you've?
Yeah, I mean, I use Hootsuite basically, and it's very easy to use as well. There's 101 packages out there that you could probably use, but looking at small businesses, to be honest, you don't want to spend a lot of money, because these things can start adding up the more posts that you get. You know, doing it manually at the start, if you're a small business and you just don't have a lot of cash, you know, it's not that hard to schedule it into your diary. I always say this to very, very small companies: just schedule it in a few times a week and do it that way. Hootsuite is great. There's other platforms out there that do a lot of the same thing, and automation, but just bear in mind as well, because I see a lot of this automation thing and things change. Look how fast COVID hit us last year, and then everybody's you know, plans were thrown into disarray. So all that planning that they'd done, they had to start again with it, because their messages were very, very going to have to be very empathetic and very, very different as well.
Just conscious of time, Nigel, our LinkedIn expert, who's going to be one of our speakers next month, Nigel. So thanks for coming on as well this month. Nigel wants to make a point, so go on.
Yeah, just thanks, Nick. You know, this business about content and the very thought of writing a blog seems like a big thing, you know? Actually, it needn't be a big thing. On LinkedIn, for example, a post can only have a maximum of 1,300 characters, not words. So by definition, it's not a long piece of content. So one of the things I'd urge you to do is think of more bite-sized value chunks that are smaller, that are in the moment, than sort of building up this, oh, I'm going to take half a day out to write 4 blogs. You know, that would sort of consume me completely. So what I do is, if something occurs to me in the moment, an experience as a result of a question that I'm asked, you know, that I think that there's a little piece of advice there I can share to my network. I'm just giving you a really quick example. I know you'll hate for doing this, Nick, but that post there is so tiny. Look, there's 3 lines in that post, but it's a piece of value that on this occasion has got nearly 4,000 views, 39 comments and 43 reactions. So it doesn't need to be War and Peace that you can turn into a blog. It's just a moment's value that you think you can share with your network that's relevant and authentic. Okay,
just conscious of time, there's a quick question. Russell, have you got the question there from Alex Abbey?
Yeah, 1 second, let me scroll back up. There's been a couple drop in. Alex just asked, is it worthwhile reposting content? I appreciate posting on different platforms is great, but if we post the same thing a couple of times a year, is that frowned upon by the relevant networks?
No, not at all. You know, your networks are always changing and shifting as well. You've probably got people on there who've never seen your stuff before. So yeah, I absolutely would use it again. Yeah, make sure it's relevant to now.
One quick point from Gareth as well, Gareth Barber. He's just said, if you're struggling for content, team up with your suppliers and partners, because they may well have content and they'll do a joint case study with you.
Yeah, testimonials are great as well. And going back to Nigel's point as well, if you, like I said in the presentation, if you do a blog with specific headings, it doesn't need to be massive. It'll give you a structure to work to, because I think people go, oh my God, I just don't know where to start with it. So, you know, having those headings actually helps you enormously.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Diane. That was fantastic. Lots of thought process. That's what we're about, the Yorkshire Sales Sprint. It's called a sprint for a reason. Just little ideas and little sort of things, sparks going off in your head for a Monday morning. Hopefully that's generated some thought process. We've got Diane's contact details on the slide deck as well. So I'm going to stop recording Diane's bit.